Henry,
Yes, sir.
I would like for you to help with the preparations in the encampments.
Gladly, sir.
Robard will brief you. That'll be all.
What needs to be done?
Look, a military encampment's a complicated thing. I don't expect it to be as peaceful and orderly as Holy Mass. But what we have here now is havoc. The men are as nervous and short-tempered as caged bears. When you walk around the camps, you'll see for yourself. Grumbling everywhere, complaints about everything from the gruel to the fleas. They're moaning they've drunk the alehouse dry, and now they have to wait for the next batch of beer. We've got dead who deserve a decent burial, and a lot of wounded, including one of their lordships. The less the troops grumble, the better off we'll all be. But that's not even the main problem.
What do you mean?
Did you hear what Sir Divish was saying to Fafar, our master builder?
I heard some of it.
And what did you make of it?
He said he'd never built a trebuchet catapult. I wouldn't even know where to start, but he might.
But, if it'll take him as long as he said, we can't wait until Judgment Day. We don't have that much time.
I'll try to ask him if I can help in some way.
You should definitely do that. Without a trebuchet, we're much too weak.
How are you faring, Sir Robard?
How do you think I'm faring, lad? There's some cutthroat thug lolling about in my bed at the castle.
Well, at least no one's raised Talmberg.
Not so far. Though we may end up doing it ourselves to smoke the bastard out.
I imagine Sir Divish isn't taking it too well.
And why do you think he handed command over to me? But it pains my heart too. That place is my home.
What's the easiest way to take back Talmberg?
The easiest way? Call in the Royal Army and leave it to them. But there's no Royal Army to help us now, and we can't afford to wait. What's more, we don't want to destroy the castle. Personally, I'd like to return to it.
Repairing the castle will be expensive.
And time-consuming. No trebuchet is wholly on target. The missiles fly as they please. And if we blast the castle to pieces and Sigismund comes back, he'll make short work of us.
Do you think Sigismund will come back?
How do I know what's in his head? But if he doesn't take advantage of this chaos, someone else probably will. The whole country will know about it soon enough.
I'd never have thought so many people were keeping an eye on Talmberg. Like that fellow Havel.
Not only Talmberg, and we've left precious few men in Rattay. If we're defeated here, who's to stop them from pillaging the whole province? And there's no shortage of power-hungry bastards like Havel and Toth in Bohemia.
Is there some way we can get through the gate?
There are steps from the gate up to the walkway on the battlements, and I don't know how Istvan's covering them. Then there's the portcullis to get through. A big battering ram might breach it, but how could you get one that close? I reckon we'll have to set fire to it.
Stack up brushwood and light it?
Brushwood, timber, anything that burns, soaked in as much pitch as possible. The local charcoal burners surely have some.
And even if it doesn't burn the gate right down, it'll weaken it and make it easier to break through.
Exactly.
And what about the walls? Which side is the most vulnerable?
The south and east are solid. It would be useless to try anything there.
It's best defended from the north, and as for the west...
From the west is where we tried it, and got royally fucked, if you recall. But I think in the end we'll try that way again, only this time we'll do it better.
Pity they didn't stay holed up in Vranic for longer. It would have been much easier there.
Toth is a wily fox. If he'd had all his men with him there would have been real carnage. It's likely we only won there because he'd already gone and taken most of his best soldiers with him.
Is there anything else I can help with?
Well, we need some pitch. I know you had dealings with the charcoal burners.
I've met a few, true enough.
Then have a look around the area. If you manage to find any pitch, bring it to our quartermaster in the camp at the quarry.
Sir Robard sent me to you. He said you have to build a trebuchet.
Indeed. A trebuchet that can smash the walls of Talmberg. Aye,
A mining engineer. What do I know of war machines? I'll never manage it on my own.
Well, I'd like to help you, but how? I don't know anything about trebuchets either.
Actually, there is a way you could help. Conrad Keyser came to Sasso recently. If you could get him to come here, it would save my skin.
Conrad Keyser? Who's he?
He's a scholar who studied medicine, but he also designed siege engines. He even took part in the siege of Nicopolis, together with Sigismund.
He was with Sigismund?
It's not so straightforward. They quarrelled after the battle, after Conrad blamed their defeat on Sigismund.
I don't suppose he took that too well.
Quite. That's what led to Conrad being banished from Prague and making a base at Bethlen Castle.
Banished? Like a common criminal?
He was a member of the court and a doctor and a master engineer, so nothing quite that bad befell him. I've even heard he has a whole host of wise men with him and they're writing some book together.
What's he doing here in Sassau?
They sent him over here to help with building the monastery. No doubt they had to pay handsomely to get him.
And how am I supposed to get him here? Abduct him?
Well, only if all else fails. We need his cooperation. Try having a word with him. By all accounts, he hates Sigismund.
You're still an engineer, though. Couldn't you build it yourself?
Are you serious? Do you know how complicated such a machine is? What forces are at work in the contraption? If we were lucky, it wouldn't fire at all. Far more likely it would smash itself to smithereens and kill lots of us instead of the enemy.
All right, I'll do what I can.
Thank you, Henry. Maybe we will build that trebuchet after all.
Do we have any beer?
Christ, I wish we did. Our ale's all gone and we've drained the local inn dry.
That's bad news.
Don't I know it? You can't go and catch a beer in the woods either. But if you happen to know about some, let's hear it. News like that'd refresh me almost as much as a drink. And the lads, too.
How are we doing with the food?
Who wants to know? One of their lordships?
No, I just wondered if there was anything you're short of.
Oh, I see. The lordling is wondering if we're in urgent need of anything. Well. To tell the truth, we don't have much meat. They bring it round often enough, but never as much as they should.
Yes, I've heard something like that.
I'll say. Every other man's moaning on about it. The gamekeepers are doing all they can, but they can't keep up. So if you know how to help them out, bring it right here. I'll take care of the rest.
Fine, I'll keep that in mind. I need something to keep our soldiers awake. Do you know of anything that might help?
I do know of a concoction to ward off sleep. I can teach you how to make it if you like.
That'll be very helpful.
I've come from the priest. They're saying you incited some women to witchcraft.
Me? Witchcraft? That's nothing but idle chatter.
Don't you know that witches get burned alive?
There's no need for trouble. I'll tell you everything. I've done a very foolish thing. It's preying on my mind so much I can't sleep a wink.
But I'm supposed to believe an old witch has pangs of conscience.
Laugh if you like, but it's not a word of a lie. You probably know I sell various magic lotions and potions alongside my herbs. Well, there's one I wish I hadn't sold. You see, Vera, Zlata, and Kuta from Uzhitz wanted a magic ointment from me. I kept refusing them, but in the end I let them talk me into it.
What kind of ointment was it?
One that will show you a world no one else can see, a place of wonder and terror. The flowers might start talking to you, or the earth could swallow you up. I don't know if it's the work of the devil or of God himself, but the ointment has that power. But it could poison any person who doesn't know how to use it right.
So all this talk of witches anointing themselves and then flying to their Sabbaths on broomsticks.
The ointment could make a person see such things. But it was stupid of me letting those foolish women get their hands on it. They could poison themselves or fall off a cliff while they're lost in a dream.
Will you give me the ointment recipe?
It contains belladonna and the herb Paris, both quite poisonous plants. That ought to make you think twice about dabbling with it.
So why did you give them the ointment at all?
Because I'm soft-hearted. You see, one of those women, Vera, lost her whole family in Skalitz. And Zlata's husband was killed. And the youngest of them, Kuta, miscarried with the horror of it all. They said they wanted to use the ointment to speak with the dead and ask them to put a word in with the Lord.
Yeah. I understand how they feel. But I reckon it'll get them nowhere but the ducking stool and the stake.
Judge not, lest ye be judged. I didn't want to give them the ointment, but they offered me a pile of groschen. So I thought how desperate they must be, and I heard their plea.
Their plea or the clink of their coin? And why are you so worried about them all of a sudden? What changed your mind?
I'm losing sleep over it. Firstly, those women don't know what they're doing. And secondly, folk might see it as witchcraft. And do you know what they do to witches?
They burn them alive.
That they do. So don't be surprised I'm worried.
It didn't bother you before, though. What did they want the ointment for?
Each one of them lost a loved one recently, and it's grieving them. They wanted to talk with the dead.
What kind of ointment was it?
One that will I don't...
So all this...
The ointment...
I want to know something else. I've heard enough.
If you've heard enough, you must understand why I need your help. Find out from those women what they intend, and watch over them to keep them safe.
Very well. But only because the priest himself asked me to.
Thank you 1,000-fold. I'll go to the Reverend myself and explain. You take care of those women. Take care.
I'd like to discuss...
Well,
Are we agreed?
it'll take more than that. Well, now. All right, sir.
Yeah.
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 God be with you.
This might help, and there's plenty of it.
It certainly is. I'll have to get all those poured into a keg. But if it works, I'm in your debt.
I just want to make sure we get rid of those bastards holed up in the castle.
No more than I do, lad.
And to see Istvan hang from the highest tower.
I'll drink to that. Well, I would if I wasn't on duty. Goodbye.
My, have a look at those melons. Wouldn't they make a fine feast? Feel free to have a knock. Mushrooms, apples, carrots, cabbage. Apples, melons, prunes. Sweeten up your day.
My respects to you.
May the Lord watch over you.
Can we do something? Here you are, with a little top-up.
My word.
I need to bring a few kegs of beer back to Talmberg.
I'm a few kegs short myself, and once I run out, my regulars will go elsewhere.
Can I...
Oh, for how long?
How about if I pay you for several nights?
No problem.
Here you go.
You're like... God be with you.
Good. Look what I've got.
Good day to you.
Father, didn't I see you outside practicing swordplay? I wouldn't have expected that from a man of the cloth.
With a stick. I practiced with a stick. A reminder of my youth and days gone by, and it helps keep me in good form.
There's something I need from you, Father Godwin.
Is there, my son? How can I help?
There are a lot of dead and wounded at Talmberg, and no one to make the sign of the cross on their foreheads.
I'd like to help, but sadly I simply can't. My own parishioners are watching me closely, and if I make just one false move, they'll have the bishop down on my back.
But Sir Divish himself...
If he wants me, let him come and speak to me himself. But I'm not going anywhere. It's your fault I have to live with a sword dangling over my head, Hal. And don't think I've forgotten it.
I never forced you to do anything. And just because I didn't help you out, you're denying God's forgiveness to innocent strangers.
How dare you? Do you think I'd stoop to such pettiness? My reasons are honorable.
All right, I understand. So why don't you turn it round on them? Why don't you say you'll go to Talmberg because it's the right thing to do and your Christian duty, even though you might be shot in the process, like that saint?
Sebastian. That might help, I suppose. But tell me the truth. Is the air really thick with arrows?
It is a siege, but all the camps are well out of range, so you don't have to worry about that.
Well, see how the martyrdom angle works, and then I'll go. At least getting out of here for a while will give me a break from all those judgmental looks. To forgive is human, damn it! Or is it to err that's human? I can never remember. Take care now.
What is it?
I'd like to challenge you to a duel, sir. A little amicable combat.
Why would I want to fight you?
Ad honorem, friend. For honor. For the thrill of combat.
Well, if that's how you look at it.
So, shall we cross swords?
That sounds interesting. But what shall we fight for?
Ah, so chivalry alone is not enough to...
No, sir. I'm drawn to more,
I see. Well, why not? Let us make it... I'll tell you what. I have a fine suit of armor, a horse and a sword I won at dice. The horse and sword I can use, but the armor doesn't fit me well. I'll bet a piece of armor against a reasonable sum of groschen.
All right, why not?
I'm glad to hear it. Let's get to it then. Is that all you've got? Ha! I'm over. Ale dobre dela. Here, the reward you've earned.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Good day to you. What do you need?
You waiting for someone?
Not anymore, young man. I was waiting for you. You look like a clever sort of fellow, and chivalrous too. You wouldn't leave a damsel in distress, would you?
Why? Do you know of one somewhere?
Now, handsome. Don't be mean. I've got a job to offer you. There's an old grandad sitting in the alehouse there. Yesterday he made use of my services and he said he'd pay me in the morning. Only now he pretends he doesn't know me. I want you to take the groschen he owes me from his purse and bring them to me.
I'm on it. I'll be back with the coin before you know it.
Goodbye.
My respects to you.
Andrew, there's no more beer in Talmberg, and the soldiers are starting to grumble. Can't you send some there?
I could. There's nothing in it for me.
Just as a matter of interest, who do you pay your taxes to?
You're saying I should be paying to Talmberg, to old Sir Divish? When Sir Havel of Waldeck was the master here, I managed to wriggle out of it. Nobody's come collecting since.
Well, right now, there are 3 noblemen camped by Talmberg, one of whom might be very interested to learn about all the tax you owe. I imagine he might want to collect it in the form of beer.
When you put it like that, I have got a few kegs I could send over. I won't lose out too much. They'd only spoil if I kept them longer, and I'd have to throw them away.
Just remember, if you poison them, they'll hang you for it.
Those soldiers would drink it up long before it has time to go off. And what's more, what with all that cabbage being eaten, it wouldn't occur to anyone the shits came courtesy of the beer. I'll have them loaded up right away and taken there. And give their lordships my regards. Tell them I'm sending my best beer as a gift. Why the devil shouldn't I get some goodwill out of this at least?
What do you think about Talmberg being attacked?
What do I think? That as long as decent people can live in peace, and I can talk my way out of paying taxes, I don't care who my liege lord is.
Well, this new lord never forgets a man who fails to pay him a single groschen, and the poor probably go straight to the gallows for it.
That's terrible news, especially for us poor folk. I hope you'll drive him out of here so fast he'll shit himself, or hang him from the tallest Talmberg tree.
People usually shit themselves when that happens too.
All to the good. A nice bit of manure and everything blossoms.
I'd like to learn to fight better with an axe.
Certainly.
I'm in.
Wouldn't you rather learn the...
What? Have you got a bed for the night?
I suppose I could find... For how long?
How about if I pay you for several nights?
All right. Money up front, though.
That's quite a lot. What do you say to
You're a right pinch pert.
What about this?
Well, you'll like it here. Like sleeping on a cloud it is. Farewell.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I've got your coin for you. Though I have to say, robbing a wretch who doesn't look much better than you doesn't exactly fill me with pride.
Thank you 1,000 times. Keep half as a reward.
Have you got something else for me?
For you, always. You brought me coin for food, but I'm cold, and I've no one to keep me warm at night.
Sorry, I can't do that for you. Unless you want me to steal a blanket for you.
Not a blanket, but a lovely woolen shawl. My own. I was desperate, so I swapped it for a morsel of food, and now I'm sorry I did. Get it back for me, please.
Consider it done.
Thank you, Hans. Good luck then.
God save you. What can I do for you?
Can I sleep?
I suppose I could. For how long?
How about...
Sure.
Here you go.
You'll like it.
I need to bring a few kegs of beer back to Talmberg.
I'm sorry about that, but I don't have any to spare. I can hold out a while with what I have, but I'd be running short myself if it came to that. You'll have to try somewhere else. Take care now.
Enter. Huh? By the horn of Joshua, you startle me. I thought you were urban. What do you want?
Sir Tobias Fayfar, the master builder and engineer from Skalitz, sends his greetings.
Fayfar? Tobias Fayfar? I've heard of him. He invented an interesting mining machine. What does he need?
Sir, have you heard what's been going on in Talmberg?
I've heard a thing or two. Is it true the castle's been taken?
It has, and we want to take it back. Master Fayfar has been given the task of building a trebuchet, but he's not sure he can manage it.
I doubt it myself. Building siege engines is an entirely different kettle of fish than mining. Damn, I'd like to rain some boulders on those heathens of Sigismund's. But that can't be done with a quill and parchment, and I can't leave here right now.
Why can't you leave?
That's a long story. I was a little, more than a little, critical of Sigismund's efforts at Nicopolis. And it might surprise you to know, after that defeat, he didn't particularly appreciate my criticism. Then, when Sigismund abducted the king, I didn't feel too secure in Prague, so I left. Perhaps left is the wrong word. Some might say I was banished. In any case, I went to Bettlern Castle.
They locked you up in Bettlern?
Not quite. It's a royal castle. They leave me to my own devices there. Frankly, this so-called banishment has been a bit of a blessing. I have peace and quiet to attend to my opus and a band of able assistants. Although I have lost quite a few of my patrons, thanks to all this unrest.
And why are you here in Sassa?
To be honest, I need the money.
Money, sir? You don't seem like a man who lives in want.
Dear me, no. I don't need it to support myself. It's to fund my opus. That's why I agreed to help with the construction of the monastery. So, you see, I can't simply take my leave.
What is it you're working on, sir?
Belli Fortis, a great book of war machines and weapons, my opus magnum, my legacy. All you have seen here are but snippets of my great work. Mark my words. One day our whole world will be run by machines and inventions not yet dreamed of.
Of course. Any day now they'll plough our fields and milk our cattle.
What did you say?
Oh, nothing. Just thinking aloud about things for battle. Who do you work for here?
My contract is with the abbot himself, but I discussed the work details with Carol, the monastery's master builder.
Could I help you escape, perhaps?
Who says I want to?
But you said you couldn't leave, sir.
Young man, I can't leave because I gave my word I'd help with the building of the monastery here. And my word is my bond. I have no intention of sneaking away like some criminal.
Could I not just pay off the master builder for your services?
I doubt it. Carroll is only interested in the construction. As long as he has the money to pay the craftsmen's wages, that's all he needs.
Ah, as long as he has enough for wages, you say?
Yes. What are you thinking?
Couldn't Carroll be persuaded somehow? After all, the defence of the province is at stake.
I realise that, but Sassar Monastery has always kept its neutrality. What's more, the abbot isn't here at present, and without his permission, Carroll won't be persuaded. But I might have another idea.
What do you suggest?
Carroll received his commission in writing. If you found it, we could copy the abbot's seal and signature on our own document.
That's a curiously interesting idea.
My inventiveness has many applications. I could be back here before the abbot, so he won't even know I was gone.
How do I get my hands on the commission?
It will be somewhere in his quarters. You'll need to get it quickly and put it back before he notices it's gone. I suggest waiting until evening. That's when Carroll usually goes to the tavern to play dice. He's fond of his dice. Maybe you can take advantage of that somehow.
Right. I'll see what I can do. You really can't come with me right away?
Damn. I'd like to rain some boulders on those heathens of Sigismund's. But that can't be done with a quill and parchment, and I can't leave here right now.
I'll try and find some way of getting you out of here.
Look here, I don't want any trouble. You better talk to Carroll, the master builder. Not so loud. The very thing. Go to the Sassau scribe and say to him the fox isn't half as clever as he thinks. Then he'll do as you ask.
Is that a password?
Just so. He insists on it. Don't forget to repeat it verbatim and aloud. Then all you have to do is take the new document to Carroll and tell him a messenger brought it.
All right.
But most importantly, do it quickly and put the commission back immediately. Carroll's no fool. If he can't find it, he'll put 2 and 2 together when you bring him the new document, and the game will be up.
I have a message for you. The fox isn't half as clever as it thinks.
What?
The password about the fox?
What in heaven's name are you blabbering about?
Conrad Keyser sent me.
Why the hell didn't you say so?
That sod. He deliberately lied to me to make me look stupid.
Well, never mind. What do you want?
I've got this document here, and I need to have a different one drawn up with the same signature and seal.
So Conrad is still up to his old tricks. Give him my greetings. Let's see it then. All right. Give me an hour, and I hope I won't have problems on your account.
A messenger brought a dispatch for you.
To the hand of charge to give assistance. Permission to leave Sasau? How very convenient for you.
The hand of fate.
We'll see what fate brings. I have an authorization letter of my own from the abbot, and if your letter of patent is fake, you'll be in trouble. Come with me. Farewell.
Oh, God damn it, my stomach hurts.
Well, it goes against the grain, but the seal and signature are genuine.
So Conrad may leave?
He can. The letter of patent is genuine, and when the abbot commands...
Wonderful. I'll tell him.
They're after me! Sweet Jesus, I knew this day would come!
What? Who is... Carol said you can leave and...
Leave? I can't even set foot outside the door! Not now!
Please, calm down and tell me what's going on.
They're after me!
Who? Who's after you?
Sigismund's people, of course!
Why would they be after you?
Because he's never forgiven my criticisms of Nicopolis. Now he's decided to pay me back. What am I to do?
What makes you think someone's after you?
When I was on my way to Sasau, I saw Baron Pekar in Kostelitz. He was with Sigismund on the crusade, as was I. Now I've been told he was seen at the local tavern. And a stranger's been creeping around the gardens here late at night. My God, there are signs someone was trying to force the door. They're after me, Henry. The Lord preserve me. They want to kill me.
Take it easy. If someone's after you, I'll see to him. I'll have a sniff around the town or lie in wait for him.
I don't know. What if he sneaks past you?
He won't, I promise. I'll hide in the garden, and if anyone starts creeping around after dark, I'll catch him.
You will, won't you? Good, good. And be sure to hide well. If he sees you, he won't come.
What are you up to?
What, me? I'm hunting.
Hunting? Here, at this hour?
Shit. Please don't tell anyone. Sometimes I come here at night to collect a few things I can sell. Nothing of value to the monastery, of course. A bone, a splinter, a weed. Folk buy those things.
You're not after Master Conrad?
Master Conrad? Why would I? Have you seen me trying to get to him?
Oh, God's teeth! I'm looking for someone else, and you're getting under my feet.
Well, after all the noise we've made, you might as well give it up for tonight.
Thanks a lot. I'll try again tomorrow, and don't let me catch you here again. I've got you. You can't get away from me.
What? What are you talking about?
Silence! For God's sake, I caught you in the middle of an assassination attempt.
Assassination? What are you on about?
You told me to my face you were here purely for business, that Master Keyser had no reason to fear you, and then I catch you sneaking up to his door.
Keyser? He's living here in the monastery?
Well, yes. Right here in this house. What's your business here?
It's all a terrible mistake. I've a long-standing arrangement with the custodian here, Sir Sebastian von Berg. I supply him with salt and spices, and I've come to realise how he's been cheating me repeatedly. The dispute's been running for a while and still has legs. So I wanted my money back, that's all. I've no quarrel with Conrad.
All right. I suppose I'll have to take your word for it. But stop creeping around here at night and trying to break into the house. Conrad is scared half to death, and I need him in his right mind.
Very well. That does sound like Conrad. I'll think up some other plan. Good luck to you. Damn. Ah! Giving up or...
Oh, did you find anyone?
I did.
And?
You needn't fear. I kept watch the whole night and nothing happened. A few folk passed by, but nobody dangerous.
And what about Pekar? Are you saying he has no malicious intentions?
None. He's just doing some trade with the custodian. That's what brought him to where you were.
Well, if you're sure, but I'd still rather lie low for a while.
Come to Talmberg. You'll be surrounded by a whole garrison there.
Yes. Yes, I suppose that does make sense.
Greetings.
I'm looking for some pitch for Talmberg.
Already? What happened to the last lot we supplied?
I don't know, and it doesn't matter. Do you have any, or don't you?
I do. I had a buyer lined up, but it's been a while since he showed his face. What do you need it for?
Talmberg's been taken by a horde of brigands, so we're laying siege to it. We could use some pitch.
Christ blood. I hadn't heard the news. All right, it's all yours. You gave us a hand with that ginger when we needed it, and if it's for Sir Divish, I know my duty. If you want to haul it away yourself, feel free, or I can get someone to deliver it to you.
Thank you. God bless you.
Good gracious, it's Henry, champion of the Radzig tourney.
Are you wishing you'd stayed home at Radzig instead of joining in our nighttime venture?
You must be joking. I haven't had so much fun since... actually ever.
Really? Despite being wounded? Actually, you missed the best part. When I was hauling you like a sack of grain to the battlements, dead to the world.
It can't have been that much fun if I fell asleep. But you might have handled me a bit more gently. I'm black and blue all over.
Oh, all right then. Next time I'll just leave you to Istvan's tender mercies.
Nonsense. What would you do without me? Still, thank you for hauling me out of there.
Anything for you, my lord.
I've arranged for a priest to come. He promised to take care of the people around here.
Thank you, Henry. Lifting the spirit can help us all.
I've arranged some beer for you from the local tavern.
You're a proper treasure, you are. I'm going to put a word in about how well you look after us. Like your own kith and kin.
The charcoal burners nearby have some stocks of pitch they'll let us have.
That's handy. Sir Robard will be pleased. What little we had left was running out, and he was getting worried.
Well, he can stop worrying.
Good. I'll get someone to take care of it.
A well-chosen site. You want to strike the gate, do you?
True. We don't want to do more damage than necessary.
I quite understand. Sir Toth is holed up there, is he?
Just so, Master Conrad. I hear you have some accounts to settle with him.
Ah, not entirely. I've done with him. Sigismund trusted him more than me in his campaign against the Ottomans, and we all know how that ended up.
How did it end up?
Badly, my lord. The flower of French knighthood was slain there. Sigismund fled for his life, and I did too, I must confess.
Be assured we shall not make the same mistake here. We do not intend to starve them into submission, but to break down the gate.
I am at your service, my lords. We will build the trebuchet quickly. It will be ready in a matter of days. And I can supply, for example, Roquetta to sweep the foe from the battlements.
Roquetta? I do not believe I've heard of such a term.
Roquetta are missiles filled with black powder with a touch hole at the bottom to ignite it. They shoot forward, something like a hand cannon, but without rocks. The rocket is the missile.
I see. But we don't have black powder in these parts. Nor cannon.
Indeed. It should have occurred to me. But I am very fond of Roquetta, and I always think what Alexander the Great might have accomplished with them. I understand. We find ourselves in a conventional situation that demands a conventional solution.
I'm still hoping that Toth will see sense and parley with us.
He may well do so, especially when we set up the trebuchet on his doorstep.
You in agreement with Conrad?
He's already here. You wouldn't believe how clever that fellow is. Now we really will build that trebuchet. That I guarantee you.
Just one thing. If he should send you somewhere and tell you to give some password about a fox or some such, well, you should take it with a grain of salt.
Password? Fox? All right. I'll bear it in mind.
Glad I could be of service.
I'm truly grateful to you, and the men will be too when the assault starts. Fine work. You've certainly saved many lives. I probably shouldn't, but go and have a look in my trunk. You might find something there you can use.
Thank you.
Take care now.
God bless you. What troubles you?
How do you like it here, Master Keyser?
It's quite satisfactory. Indeed, it's more than satisfactory. I have to commend Master Fayfar for his diligent supervision of the construction work. His extensive knowledge of mechanics is proving most useful. He has the makings of quite a competent siege master.
I don't think he's yearning to become one. His life's mission has been to manage the mines.
We'll see if he feels the same after he has a crack at firing our trebuchet. It's a sight to knock the wind out of any man, especially if he's standing too close.
You're a physician too, are you not, Master Keyser?
Indeed. I served as physician at several courts.
Could you take a look at our wounded? Or just Sir Divish?
I can attend to Sir Divish, certainly, but I don't have time to tend the rest. The trebuchet construction keeps me fully occupied.
I understand. I'll try and get someone else then. But I'd be glad if you'd attend to Sir Divish.
Certainly. I'll be there as soon as I have a moment.
Henry, how are you?
What's happening here? Oh my God. Philip and... they're all...
Yes. Where do you think the wounded ended up?
Actually, I had no idea.
Well, now you know. Me and Nicodemus have been trying to keep things under control since Skalitz was raised. Just the two of us.
So can I help at all?
Certainly. We can always use an extra pair of hands here. And it's been like that since the beginning.
I was in a bad way myself back then. They took me to Ratai unconscious, and I needed a healer. How is everyone holding up? What can I do?
holding up. People here are dying, usually needlessly, and I can't do anything about it. We don't have enough food or space or anyone who's willing to help us.
Doesn't anyone help you with nursing these people? You've got scholars all around you.
Scholars, maybe, but they leave the healing up to God. Nicodemus is trying, but everything he knows is from his books.
Can I have a look at them myself? I know a little about healing.
Do you now? And what would you do if you burnt yourself at the forge?
First, you have to cool it down with water. Marigold ointment helps, and it's better if you don't bind it and let it breathe.
You do know what you're talking about. Looks like blacksmiths know about more than just pulling teeth.
Pulling teeth? Nothing to it. As long as you don't squeeze the pincers too hard and crush them.
Well, go and see if anyone needs anything. Just don't go pulling anyone's teeth.
Doesn't the monastery care for them?
They give us some food for them and a place to sleep, but I wouldn't say they help exactly. More like they just tolerate us.
Do you have enough food?
Enough to survive, maybe, but convalescents need feeding up.
Maybe if I brought some meat, some game, that would strengthen them up.
That would be a great help.
Anything else you need?
Look around.
Well, it is a little crowded.
Crowded? I've had to leave some of the sick lying in the open air, even at night. And have you seen what they're lying on?
I'll try to negotiate better conditions with the monastery.
I tried that, out loud. They just nod their heads, but don't move a muscle.
Very well. And how are you doing? You're the only woman here, alone in the monastery.
Some of the monks speak to me, but other people act like I don't exist. Too bad the custodian isn't one of those.
Is the custodian causing you problems?
All the time. Apparently he has a wife somewhere, but that doesn't stop him. He's constantly strutting around in front of me.
And, what else?
What do you mean, what else? He's invited me to his home.
I could do something about it, if you liked.
No, I can deal with him. The last thing I need is you going around threatening people. It won't help me, and it definitely won't help the refugees.
Why is there a guard outside?
He's here because of me.
Because of you?
Yes. There was one time I just had enough of it all, of the way they treat us, and I almost slapped one of... But that doesn't matter.
What can you tell me about the custodian?
He's supposed to be in charge of all the guards and the security of the monastery. But really, he has a say in pretty much everything, including supplies. And that's why he probably thinks he can do whatever he wants.
All right, that's all I need to know.
Look, Henry, I know I can speak harshly, but I'm at the end of my tether. Last week Bohuslav died. Maybe you knew him. And nobody even blinked an eye. We desperately need help.
I'll do whatever's in my power. He'll be able to get out of this on his own.
Christ above! I can't get a wink of sleep.
What are you making such a fuss about?
A fuss? Because of my leg, I have to stay here for at least another week. Hurts like fuck. And with everyone else moaning and groaning all night, I can't get any sleep.
What will happen to my family?
Maybe I can make you something to help you sleep.
Oh, then for God's sake, do it quickly.
Farewell.
Everything here is fine? Philip, from Skalitz. I don't see any wounds, but he's shaking terribly. He's not reacting. But all I can see that's wrong with him is his leg. I have to ask Johanka. Everything here is fine?
What do you want?
I won't get any sleep.
You're not from Skalitz?
No, but please help me. I can't stay here.
What happened to you?
I was working on the building when the scaffolding up by the roof collapsed underneath me.
Well, and you're very lucky you survived at all.
Yes, that's what everyone tells me. But it's no use being alive if all I can do is lie here like a wet sack of barley.
Well, you're pretty battered, but I don't see anything that a few weeks' rest can't fix.
Weeks? My God, I have to get back to work sooner than that.
What's the problem? Why can't you stay until you heal?
I have a family. I'm poor. It's only thanks to the building work that we can survive. And the master told me if I don't come back in a few days, then I shouldn't come back at all. And where can me and my wife go then? Who'll take us in? We'll end up living in the woods, where any bandit or ruffian could set on us.
Is there anything I can do to help? It looks like they took care of your wounds.
When I was little, my father got trampled on by a horse, and an old hag from the village gave him some kind of purple herbs for it. And he got better very quickly.
And do you remember what the herbs were?
I don't. But there's supposed to be the whole cursed knowledge of the world in this place. Something has to be written about it. A herbarium, anything.
I'll try to find something.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good luck to you.
Where? What's happening?
You look all right?
Mostly, but my leg still hurts.
Did the Cumans wound you?
That's what I tell the ladies. Truth is, I did myself a mischief while I was running away.
And do they rebandage it for you?
Occasionally. They told me they don't have enough bandages.
Well, that's no use. Those bandages need changing. I'll get some.
Good luck to you.
I have the bandages.
Wonderful. Could you tell Brother Nicodemus?
I can do it myself.
I thought you were a blacksmith.
Yeah, a long time ago. But unfortunately, I've had to learn a thing or two about the art of medicine since then.
Well, fine then. Farewell. Huh?
How are you feeling?
Good. It feels clean. Hope it helps.
It will. Tell them to rebandage you daily. You have the bandages here.
Thank you very much, Henry.
Don't mention it.
Good luck to you.
These wounds have been well taken care of.
Good luck, then.
These wounds have been well taken care of. I'm not needed here.
Henry, how are you?
What's wrong with that man by the altar? He doesn't look wounded, but he's really pale and doesn't react at all.
He had a broken leg. A bad one. The bone had come right through the skin. We tried to straighten it, but I don't know if we did it right. I'm not holding out much hope for him. I've seen folk in that state before, and it didn't end well.
My God! There has to be something we can do.
And what do you suggest? The monks won't help, and I don't know anyone else who can.
Well, I can try. I'll straighten his leg.
You?
Unfortunately, I've had occasion to try this sort of thing before. You have to place the bones as precisely as you can next to each other. It's hard, but you have to ignore any screams of pain. That's the only way to help him.
Well, fine. Try it then.
One of the sick men, Semek, is complaining about pain and the fact he can't work. He says he...
Semek? Is he one of our people?
No, he's a construction worker. He's bruised and confined to...
Henry, for God's sake, our neighbours are dying here. You're friends. There isn't time to waste on some construction worker's bruises. Oh, honestly, what were you thinking?
Listen, all I need to find out is the name of a herb.
Then go and look it up in a book. You've got your own herbarium, haven't you?
What happened to Philip?
Poor man. There was nothing wrong with him, and now he's getting worse every day.
But do you know why?
Maybe. He didn't run away from Skalitz, you see. He hid for days, among the corpses. If he got poisoned...
But what can we do?
Us? Nothing. Only Father Simon might have been able to save him. He knew a lot about poisons.
And where is he?
You know he left Skalitz years ago.
And does anyone know where he ended up?
If you believe the stories about a wild man in the woods, then Rovnar is the place to...
You're the one who's in charge of the wounded.
Yes, I'm the infirmarius here. Time was I only had a few elderly monks who couldn't walk to take care of. Now I have this mess to deal with.
Monks so old they can't hold themselves up with their own legs.
Oh, if that were the only bodily function they could control. But I shouldn't talk like that. It's a blessing to live to such an age.
I've come to ask for help.
Again?
Their lordships have laid siege.
Sadly, I...
And what if...
Yeah.
Very well.
Talk to your hung...
How are the wounded from Skalitz?
Some of them are well taken care of. But others are dying here, needlessly. It's a good thing we have Johanka here. I'd never be able to manage on my own.
Quiet!
So you don't normally treat the wounded, then?
Well, there were accidents, of course. A broken leg, someone who'd been kicked by a cow or bitten by a goat. But this... I've never dealt with the carnage of battle before.
If only it had been a battle. This was cold-blooded slaughter.
You were there? God be merciful to you and the dead and the wounded.
What do you think about the custodian?
Baron von Berg? Well, he does his job well. He keeps us safe here. And the last time I saw him was when I was rubbing ointment on his rash.
I heard he's been here a lot lately.
Well, that's true. He comes to visit Johanka. But he's never here long, and he always leaves unsatisfied.
How can I help you?
Have you talked to Johanka?
I did.
Well, if you know something about it, then go and take a look. However, you don't look like you've studied the Hippocratic arts.
That's true. I'm the son of a blacksmith, but I have been around the wounded before. What do I do if I'm not sure of the treatment?
Come and speak to me. We'll see what we can do.
Quiet!
Thank you. Why are they so badly provided for? People are crammed in next to each other, and some have to sleep outside. That can't be good for them. It gets freezing here at night.
I can't afford anything more for them.
How is that possible? You're the infirmarius. You decide how all the money gets spent.
But I have no say in how much money I'm given. And because the abbot's away, it's still the same amount I had when I was taking care of a few old men.
Can't you do anything? Won't the others help?
Unfortunately not. The brothers in the cloister aren't much interested in the external world. And the custodian has enough on his plate with the chaos in the region. Besides, his main concern is the smooth running of the monastery.
And the local custodian? His crew has enough provisions.
I tried him, but it seems he had some disagreement with Johanka, and now he won't give us anything.
I'll try to talk to him. I can't believe your conscience lets you leave the Skalitz locals in such a state.
I know. I'm ashamed. But my brothers believe it's all in God's hands now.
Even so, conditions here seem to me quite unchristian.
You're not the only one.
I'd like to learn something from you.
And what can you do?
A bit of everything.
Can you now? But to be more precise, do you understand herbs and medicinal plants?
I do.
In that case, you've come to the right place. Someone who knows what they're doing will have it done in a jiffy. Go to the herb garden, take a good look at what's growing there, and then pull up the weeds in the herbaceous beds. Is that clear?
Clear. I can get cracking.
Not so fast. Have I even told you what I consider a weed? It's dandelions, stinging nettles, and thistles. Those plants have their use, but they've no business growing among the euphrasia and the mentha, or anywhere else in that garden for that matter.
Where is it they're not supposed to grow?
Between the mint and the eyebrights. Once you've cleared the garden of weeds, come back, and woe betide you if you pull up anything but weeds.
Don't worry, you've never had as good a gardener. Do you know anything about herbs?
I'm not an expert, but I know a little something. Is it urgent?
Well, one of the workers who was injured during construction would like to get back to work. He mentioned some purple flowers that would...
Herbs.
Oh, purple herbs that should help.
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but you can have a look in the herbarium here. There won't be too many purple herbs for bruises and sprains.
How about some potion to induce heavy sleep?
Certainly. The old reliable.
Reliable?
Some of the brothers like a good sleep, and sometimes that's the only way to get one. I'll show you how.
Thanks. I've got something for you.
Really?
Drink this, and you'll fall straight to sleep.
Oh, thank you.
Good luck to you.
Are you holding him firmly?
Aye.
Dear Mistress Johanka, I come again in admiration of your selfless dedication. I would like to invite you to a fine banquet at my palace. You certainly have earned some... What business have you here, fellow? Who let you in?
I'm taking care of the wounded, as I'm sure you're aware.
Ah. Well then, run along and take care of them, and let me talk to Johanka. You're not needed here.
Wouldn't it be better to have the banquet here, custodian?
What?
You admire Johanka's self-sacrifice. I'm sure she appreciates the same quality in others.
Ah, yes. Quite. I was just thinking the same. I'll have some food brought here.
God be with you, Henry.
That custodian Sebastian is really obnoxious.
He can be unpleasant, but in his own way. I don't know.
You can't be serious.
What's that supposed to mean? At least he was here, unlike you, the whole time. And anyway, mind your own business.
I'm helping at the infirmary now, and I came to...
Ah, and how is Johanka? Do you know her well?
Yes, I do.
Good, good. Does she ever talk about me?
Sometimes. A little.
That's good. Excellent. Johanka means a lot to me.
I'm mainly here for supplies and to talk about the state of the wounded from Skalitz. They need blankets, food...
Well, that's not my problem. Let the infirmarius take care of it.
His hands are tied. Until the abbot comes back, he can't get anything.
And why should that interest me?
Maybe because of Johanka.
What precisely are you getting at?
She has a kind heart. Everyone can see how deeply she cares about the wounded. If you help her selflessly, it'll win her over. She's bound to be impressed.
Maybe you're right. It will cost me something, but I'll discuss it with Nicodemus. I should be able to help in some way.
Good day to you.
I see there's not much going on around here.
Quite so. All by myself. All the others were either killed by the Cumans or fled to Rattay.
I'm sorry to hear that. And what's keeping you here, alone?
My older brother ran away with the wandering players, so when our father was on his deathbed, he made me swear I'd never leave our home.
I can see you took your vow seriously.
I did. But it's starting to get dangerous around here. Again.
The Cumans?
If it were Cumans, I'd grab an axe and that would be that. But a week back, some rabble made their way through here. They begged me for food, and mark my words, they weren't taking no for an answer. If they'd been just a tad hungrier, I swear they would have stormed the cottage.
There are gangs like that around, true enough. I saw the mess they left behind. Savages.
It was horrible. People tried to find shelter in the church, but them dogs was waiting. They knew too well that's where folk would try to hide.
And where did you hide?
By the grace of God, I got my family away into the woods.
And I don't see your family with you. I hope those bastards didn't sniff them out.
No, it takes better man than them to track me down. I sent my wife to Rattay with some others.
Do you think folk will ever go back to their homes?
I don't know about Skalitz, but the folk here are sure to want to come back. The only thing they're missing is spiritual support.
Do you mean the priest?
Indeed. When the land's at war, noblemen fight to protect their property. But simple folk want someone to tend their souls.
Of course. But it was the Skalitz parish priest who ministered here, wasn't it?
He did. But there's been no sign of him since the attack. Or at least he's definitely not in Rattay among the refugees.
That's true enough. I didn't see him there.
But if you're interested, young fella, maybe you could help us find the priest we need here.
I can always ask. But I've really got no idea where to start.
I can help with that. A few years ago, there used to be another priest in Skalitz. Simon, I think his name was.
Simon? Father Simon, I remember him. That's the one who went missing, right?
Aye. I don't want to spread rumours, but they say he was in love with his housekeeper. And then she died somehow, poor thing.
That's not a story I've come across.
It only reaches folk who care for such tales. Well, to finish the story, Simon left the parish and ran away. You know that already. There was neither sight nor sound of him for a long time. Until this spring, he showed up here.
And what's he doing here?
That's just it. People say he's become a hermit.
All right. And where can I find him?
I couldn't tell you exactly, but you could start by talking to that girl's parents. Well, they live on a farm nearby, and it's likely they know more. They may even have had words with him.
I'll go and see what they have to say for themselves.
God go with you, lad, and I pray you find him. If some heathen stabs me in my sleep, I'd rather have a decent burial.
Don't worry. I'll bring someone.
Greetings. What do you need?
I'm looking for the priest, Father Simon, and I heard you might know of him.
Simon? What do you want him for?
I'm looking for the priest who used to take care of St. James, and the locals tell me they saw him around here.
I don't know if I can help you there. He'll never go back to his parish, if you ask me. Very well. What is it you want to know?
What went on between Simon and your daughter?
Nothing that hasn't happened before. Our Mary was his housemaid in Skalitz. She was pretty, very pretty. And he was young, and so things went the way they do between comely young folk. She came back home one day, heavy with child.
Yes, these things happen. What can you do?
I said as much. I was just glad our girl was provided for. Only she never had the chance to hold that babe in her arms. She didn't live through the birth.
I'm very sorry.
Such is a woman's lot in life. Men die in battle, and women in the arms of the midwife.
And what happened to Simon?
The poor man. He took it the worst. He was sure God's wrath smote Mary for her fornication.
That's rubbish. People lie together out of wedlock all the time, and God never smites them down.
That's just what I told him. But it's hardly my place to lecture a priest. And who knows? Maybe he was right. The Lord moves in mysterious ways. He was overflowing with grief. He barely spoke, didn't eat, refused to take a new housemaid. And then, one fine day, the presbytery was deserted. It took a good season before another priest came along.
Where can I find him? He's said to be wandering around here somewhere.
I heard that too, and I'm inclined to believe it, even though I haven't seen him myself.
How come?
After our poor Mary went to her rest, we used some of the money he'd paid us to put a cross up by the roadside. And lately, there's been wreaths of comfrey turning up next to it. I don't take them there, nor my husband neither.
You think Simon does?
Who knows? Maybe it's a miracle. I could believe anything. But there's not been fresh ones for a while, so perhaps he's moved on elsewhere again.
I see. Can you tell me where that cross is?
Certainly. There are settling tanks for the mines to the west of Skalitz. On the hill above them in the woods, there are several paths. Mary's cross is by one of them, close to the brook.
All right, thanks. I'll be going.
Very good, then. And if you do find him, let him know that we have no hard feelings.
I'll tell him. Are you all right?
Yes. Yes, I think so. Oh, what happened to those wretches?
They're skulking around here somewhere.
Good God! Couldn't you scare them off somehow? I'm afraid they'll be back.
I'll see what I can do.
Just don't hurt anyone. Oh, thank you, my son. I was beginning to fear I'd never get out of here alive.
They didn't look dangerous. The only thing at risk was your possessions.
I know, poor fools. But I was afraid they'd leave me here. What would I have done then? And to whom do I owe my salvation?
My name's Henry. You may remember me. I'm the son of the Skalitz blacksmith.
Your face does seem familiar. But listen, Henry, I can't help feeling you didn't stumble across me by accident.
It's true. I've come to ask a favor of you.
Me? What on earth could I do for you?
I need you to go back to St. James. The folk there need spiritual guidance. Skalitz has a burned-out shell, and many have died in St. James. They need a priest. Any priest.
I understand, but I have to disappoint you. I gave up my calling. Instead, I've given myself over to repentance.
I know your story, Father.
Then you know what I'm guilty of.
Yes, and I don't want to try to make light of it. Your conscience is your own affair, but I know that deep down you're a good man.
You don't know what you're saying. You don't know me.
But I know what you did. Many priests break God's commandments willy-nilly and aren't the least ashamed.
That doesn't absolve me of my sins. God's law is set, no matter how often it's violated.
You're certainly right, but the people need you. And forgive me for being blunt, but while you can leave the presbytery if you choose, it doesn't absolve you of your duty to Christian folk.
But I'm a sinner. I'm not fit to guide anyone. I'm unworthy to do so.
Priests, bishops, monks, abbots, they're all sinners. Even the Holy Father himself is a sinner. You've done your penance, and now your people need you.
You're probably right. It is my duty. At least for a time, until they find someone better.
I don't think they'll find anyone better in a hurry.
All right. I'll take what I can carry and go back to St. James.
Thank you. Your parishioners will be very grateful. I need help with treatment.
And what's wrong with you?
Oh, nothing. But Philip from Skalitz is dying. He's lying in Sasau and won't last long.
Slowly now. What happened to him?
Nobody knows much. He's not wounded, but I heard he was hiding from the Cumans for days in a pile of carcasses.
The Lord have mercy. The living should never lie with the dead. His intestines must be purged, but even then he's in God's hands.
How do I clean his intestines?
It might surprise you, but you'll have to give him alcoholic spirits, the purest you can get your hands on. The best is distilled from Artemisia. It'll make him a bit delirious, but it'll help. I'll show you how to prepare it.
What happened?
We brought you back to the land of the living.
How? How long have I been unconscious?
For a long time. Your friends have left.
I have to find them.
Rest now. You're going to be very weary for the next week or two. You'll find your friends. They probably ended up in Rattay like most of our folk.
Well, all right. And Henry? Thank you.
Henry!
How are the sick and wounded faring? I don't think there's anything more I can do for them.
You did what you could. Truly. I don't know what I would have done without you. You saved a lot of lives.
I've come to ask for help.
Again?
Their lordships have laid siege to Talmberg, and the brigands have...
These are tragic times.
Thank you, Father. May God reward you 1,000 times.
How are you getting on?
Oh, better. A little, at least. There's less wounded than there was. Some got better. But there are more and more people in need of treatment. Someone gets kicked by a horse, someone eats something bad, another can't sleep or has the ague. Everyone's got a problem, and it feels like I'm the only one in the whole world who's able to help them. And Matthias, he worries me most of all. Brother Nicodemus helped me to move him here after what happened in Merhoyed. But he's still lying in a fever, and nothing seems to help.
I'm sorry to hear it. To be honest, you look all done in.
I know. I'm constantly on my feet, and when I get a chance to rest for a while, I don't sleep well. I keep having peculiar dreams and waking up. I get up in the morning feeling like I haven't slept at all.
I brought you something.
That's sweet of you. What is it?
I've got a bit of spare coin, and I was thinking maybe you could use it.
We certainly could. That would be a great help.
I'd like to give you 360 groschen.
Thanks, Henry. You're an angel.
I brought you something.
That's sweet of you.
I've got quite a bit of meat. More than I can eat myself. I thought you might be able to use it.
Thank you so much. This will help us a lot. We've barely got enough to eat, you know?
Glad to be of help. You know, I could get you some potion to help calm you down so you can sleep.
Thanks. But there's no point in it. Brother Nicodemus already tried and it didn't help.
Oh, I see. What's wrong with Matthias?
As I said, his wound isn't healing, and he has a constant fever. Me and Brother Nicodemus are at a loss. We tried everything we could think of. I pray every night to Our Lady to heal him. If only he'd get better.
Ah, poor Matthias. After all he's been through. I'll pray for him.
Now, let's see how strong those walls are.
Let it rip!
That was just the first shot. The trebuchet has to be calibrated. That's perfectly normal. I'll have the range in no time.
Move! Move! God damn it, I have to get to Sir Divish! Sir! They're coming! There's no time!
Someone bring water! Breathe, man. You'll be all right. Who's coming?
There's an army on the way. And they're carrying the colours of Havel Medic of Waldeck. And they're very close.
Havel Medic? He's surely not coming to help us.
Not that bastard. I have a score to settle with him. Gentlemen, Toth's reinforcements are about to descend on us.
That swine.
How many men?
We don't know exactly, but there are many, and they will probably be here by dawn.
So soon? How is it that we knew nothing about this before?
The whole land is in chaos. It's a wonder we can find out anything at all.
If they attack from the rear...
we'd be finished, just as Toth has been planning.
The sneaky weasel.
He's been one step ahead of us the whole time.
Not this time, though.
What are you thinking?
Robard, how do you think the weather will be tomorrow?
Well, sir, if my joints don't deceive me, and they rarely do, it'll rain. It'll rain buckets.
Here. We'll make a stand here, I and Radzig's men. You will wait until they charge us, and then strike them from the rear. Here and here. If we succeed, we'll have it over and done with before they notice anything in Talmberg.
It might just work. But we'll have to leave someone in the encampments in case they do come out of Talmberg.
A few men will be all I need.
Well, that depends on whether you can hold out. We don't even know how many there are.
We will hold out.
I'll give the orders to my men.
We will be ready.
My part in the battle, sir. I wanted to go with the Skalitz men.
I need more than that from you.
More, sir?
If we can't hold out at the quarry, we're finished. You, I, Hanish, and Radzig. And since Hanish is commanding the flank attack, Radzig is captive and I'm wounded, Captain Robard will be leading on the field.
Of course. Who better?
There's no question Robard's a good commander. But many of the men will be from Skalitz. We need someone there who knows them and has their respect.
Sir?
I mean you, Henry.
But that is... I want to be in the vanguard.
Now hear me well, Henry. There are whole cemeteries full of heroes who rushed into danger. And if the first human you meet runs you through, it won't be good for morale. Not to mention that Radzig would have my guts for garters. In the battle, you and a group of Skalitz men will be concealed in the woods over the road.
But sir, I think I should...
Quiet! Don't underestimate the task I'm setting you. You'll have to keep nervous men on a short rein and not attack too soon. And then conduct the attack on the rear so fiercely and quickly that the foe has no chance to react. If the line should start to break, we need someone with their head firmly on their shoulders to keep control of the men.
Very well, sir.
That's what I like to hear. When you're ready, go and join the Skalitz men. They'll be mustering in the woods above the road to Trebuchet.